Welcome back, guys. Today, we're going to step into the high stakes world of The Bodyguard, the musical, where a legendary voice needs protecting, and the lines between duty and desire, will they become dangerously blurred? Now, The Bodyguard is a 2012 stage musical with book by Alexander Dinelaris. Based on the 1992 film of the same name, follows the story of Frank Farmer, a former Secret Service agent turned bodyguard, who is hired to protect superstar singer Rachel Marin from an unknown and dangerous stalker. Now, initially clashing due to their strong personalities and different approaches to security, Frank and Rachel find themselves unexpectedly falling in love as the threat against her intensifies. Whitney Elizabeth Houston was a singer, actress, film producer, model, and philanthropist. Commonly referred to as the Voice, she is and still remains one of the most awarded performers of all time. Now, as a cultural icon, her chart achievements and music videos influenced the breaking down of gender and racial barriers. Houston signed to Arista Records at the age of 19, and her first studio albums, Whitney Houston's in 1985 and 1987's Whitney, topped the Billboard 200 for a combined total of 25 weeks. Now, Houston took a more urban turn with her third album, 1990's I'm Your Baby Tonight, and performed an acclaimed rendition of the Star Spangled Banner at Super Bowl 25 in 1991. Now, a fun fact tie-in. The soundtrack of her film debut in 1992's The Bodyguard won the Grammy Award for Album of the Year, topped the Billboard 200 for 20 weeks, and remains the best-selling soundtrack album of all time. Now, its lead single, I Will Always Love You, won the Grammy Award for Record of the Year and became the best-selling single by a woman in pop music history. Now, Houston continued her work in the film industry, including starring roles in 1995's Waiting to Exhale, 1996's The Preacher's Wife, which actually became the best-selling gospel album of all time, and 1997's Cinderella, as well as producing series such as The Princess Diaries and Disney's The Cheetah Girls. Now, fun fact number 2, Houston's first studio album in 8 years, 1998's My Love Is Your Love, found critical and commercial success, and she renewed her contract with Arista Records for $100 million in 2001, becoming one of the largest record deals of all time. However, her drug use and tumultuous marriage to singer Bobby Brown tarnished her America's Sweetheart image, overshadowing her next album, 2002's Just Whitney. Now, after divorcing Brown, Houston returned to the top of the Billboard 200 with her final album, 2009's I Look to You. Unfortunately, on February 11th of 2012, Houston accidentally drowned in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California, with heart disease and cocaine use as contributing factors. Guys, Houston continues to be one of the best-selling musical artists of all time, with sales of more than 220 million records worldwide, scoring 11 Billboard Hot 100 number one singles, and remains the only artist to have 7 consecutive singles top the chart. Well, a few days after the death of Whitney Houston and 6 years of initial development, it was confirmed that a musical based on the movie and using the singer's soundtrack would open at London's Adelphi Theatre in November of 2012. Now, the show's book brings the story forward to present day and changes the focus of the story to bring the character of Rachel Marin to the forefront, rather than her bodyguard. Fun fact number 3, following Whitney Houston's death, the show's star Heather Headley considered withdrawing from the role of Rachel Marin, originated by Houston in the film. She later said, "You don't want people to compare you to Whitney. I didn't want it before, and I especially not now after her passing. I want people to come in and say, this is Heather's version. This is Heather playing Rachel Marin and singing Whitney's songs. I am always trying to find a way to make them my own, but still acknowledge and keep the integrity of Whitney's music." By December 2012, The Bodyguard would make its world premiere at London's Adelphi Theatre, starring Grammy and Tony-winning actress Heather Headley, Welsh and British actor Lloyd Owen, and British musical theatre actress Debbie Currup. Now, later in the run, British actress and singer-songwriter Beverly Knight, X Factor's 2008 winner Alexandra Burke, and British stage and television actor Ben Richards would join the cast. The West End performance of The Bodyguard had received generally positive reviews from critics. Libby Purves of The Times described it as giving throbbing new life to that thin story, half gig, half thriller. Best of Theatre commented on the stage adaptation, saying there is no denying that these songs really are some of the most energetic and catchy pop songs ever written, and they have been clearly weaved into the narrative of the musical. Well, after the announcement of its West End closure in August of 2014, producer Michael Harrison said, "We always knew we had to leave the Adelphi to make way for another show, and we looked at length for an alternative theater as the business had been phenomenal. The only other theater we could have moved to, and we rang more numbers than you can imagine, had 300 less seats. It's a big show. There are nearly 30 people in the company, a 10-piece orchestra, automation, more computers and technical staff than you can imagine, so it can't just run cheap and cheerfully like certain other West End shows." Well, after its West End closure, the production began touring 19 cities across the UK and Ireland, with Alexandra Burke reprising her role as Matro Marin, alongside pop idol and thriller live actress Zoe Burkett. By September 2015, the production would make its debut at the Utrecht Beatrix Theatre in the Netherlands, starring Dutch singer and actress Rami Montero, alongside Dutch actors Mark Ewan and Dave Mantell. This production was the first to use the all-new costume, set, lighting, and sound designs, as well as including a new Whitney Houston choreographed song, "Million Dollar Bill." Now, from 2015 to 2020, the production toured 14 countries, including a short run here in the US at the Paper Mill Playhouse in the fall of 2016. Now, the Paper Mill Playhouse production starred Grammy-nominated Canadian singer Deborah Cox and Walker, Texas Ranger star Judson Mills as her famed bodyguard. In January of 2023, a third UK and Ireland tour kicked off at the King's Theatre in Glasgow, starring singer and lead vocalist for the pop group The Pussycat Dolls, Melody Thornton, and British actor of both stage and screen, Aidan Callaghan. Now, fun fact number 4. On April 6th of 2023, a debate was held on daytime television program called This Morning, in which presenters Alison Hammond, Vanessa Feltz, and Dermot O'Leary discussed whether audience members should be allowed to sing along at musicals, after the venues in Glasgow and Manchester had installed signs requesting that audiences refrain from singing along. Well, what became of that debate was a shortcut performance the following day after several audience members refused to stop singing and were removed from the theater by security staff. Now, the incident sparked a wider debate regarding theater etiquette in the British theater industry. If I recall, a similar event happened here in the US during the Wicked movie showings at cinemas, which leads me to this point. Okay, let's be honest. When those iconic power ballads hit, our inner diva demands to be heard. Now, whether you're channeling your protective instincts and belting out "I Will Always Love You" at the Bodyguard musical, convinced you're Frank Farmer's backup, just in case, or you're embracing your inner Elphaba and defying gravity with all your might during the Wicked movie, the urge to sing along is real. The key difference at The Bodyguard, your enthusiastic vocal performance might just blend in with the drama and the sheer force of Whitney's or the incredible lead's vocals. At the Wicked movies, surrounded by fellow green-skinned enthusiasts, full-on uninhibited belting, well, it's practically a requirement. So, which sing-along scenario makes you feel more empowered and less likely to get side-eyed by security? Well, let us know your go-to power ballad and your preferred level of audience participation below. I would be very curious to see what some of your thoughts are. Alright guys, so the lights fade out on the powerful story of Rachel and Frank, reminding us that love can blossom in the most unexpected and perilous of circumstances. The Bodyguard leaves us contemplating the sacrifices we make for those we protect, the vulnerability that lies beneath even the strongest exteriors, and the enduring power of music and connection in the face of fear. Until our next theatrical adventure, may you always feel protected, and may your life be filled with some of the most amazing and unforgettable melodies.